Gulfport, Mississippi. Get ready for the popular-ish comedy special screening with stand-up comedian Shel Purcell.
My coochie be so disrespectful. I'm in here trying to pee, and this bitch gonna piss all down my leg into my mother shoe. I can't even pull up my mother pants, cause I got a pee line all the way up this motherfucker right here.
Shel Purcell is coming home with the first look screening of her stand-up comedy special. Check the tab for tickets in select cities. No merchandise sold at venue. It's comedian Shel Purcell.
Live from Atlanta. Welcome to the Three Generations Podcast.
Yeah.
Bringing you a show where wisdom, experience, and fresh perspectives collide with K.L.P, Kennedy Lucas, Nay Liggins, Byron Jones, and KC.
You know what it is? Put your hands up.
Tune in now on any audio platform.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, let me tell you, welcome back. It's your boy K.L.P. Now, this is not just your typical podcast episode. This is not K.L.P. in the morning. This is not K.L.P. Aftermath. And this is not S&N. This is a new, brand spanking new podcast today. I'm excited to announce this one. Yes, this is the secret project that we've been working on for a couple of weeks now. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Three Generations Podcast. Welcome. Now, we have a special, not guest, co-host.
Yeah.
Nay Liggins.
Yeah, I'm in the building.
Nay Liggins is in the building, man.
Yeah. I appreciate the energy. I appreciate the energy.
So this has been cooking up for a while. Mm-hmm. We've been talking about it for weeks and weeks on end.
Yeah.
And after, I think the first podcast we did together, it was at a shout out to Emory University. Got to give them a shout out. But shout out to them, that podcast you came on. It was K.L.P. in the morning. You was a guest at that time, and we were just catching up. We did a GDN special. Shout out to GDN as well.
Oh, yeah, got to do that.
And then we've been talking, like, the energy is right. Mm-hmm. And it's like, okay, we need to do a podcast together. Yeah. And months later, we got it cooked up. We ready to go. Three Generations Podcast. How are you?
Man, I'm living life. When I tell you God is good, like I'm living, and I feel like I haven't lived in a very, very long time. So I feel like right now I'm in a season of overflow. It's just blessings after blessings after blessings. So yeah, I'm well.
It's good to hear. I seen you do you do amazing motivational videos on social media. Yes. By the way, I peeped it. And it really, to me, is very motivating because, you know, you're speaking about your self-worth. You're speaking about being blessed. You're speaking about finding your fulfillment and your purpose in this life.
Yes.
And I saw you, and I got to pick on you a little bit because last podcast, you know, for a lot of people that don't know Nay Liggins, she's an artist, first of all. Mm-hmm. Good college friend of mine from college days, but she's an artist. And I listen to your music, and you still making music, or what's going on with that? I had to put you on the spot for a minute.
You know what? When I was making music, the whole purpose of me making music, well, the type of music that I make, I consider it timeless music. Mm-hmm. And the whole idea behind timeless music was I never wanted to be a full-time artist. Like, I never wanted to be the artist that's got to constantly put out albums, mixtapes, singles. I've always known, like, I was meant to do more. Music was just like a passion project for me. And so I wanted to make music that I can ride to. And so fast forward now to answer your question, I don't make music. I don't want to say I don't make music anymore. I just haven't been in a studio in a long time. So I haven't had that urge to, like, you know what? I need to make a record. I was on a cruise last week, and we was playing my record, Let's Just Cruise.
Yeah, let's just cruise.
Yeah. And so it was just like, man, even after this record is maybe 8 or 9 years old, it still feels good. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I still listen to some of my records, and it's just like, the only thing, honestly, that I want to do now, for real, I want to come out with a Christmas project at some point. And I feel like I owe God a gospel project.
Ooh, now the gospel one. So later in the segment, we're gonna talk about music later, because gospel. Let me tell you, that's the one that gets me got me through too. Just success all around in music. So for a lot of people who just now tuning in to the podcast, Three Generations Podcast is a brand new show from K.L.P Entertainment, DP Entertainment. We're putting together a show that is going to expand 3 generations. Me sort of being the young cat in this game a little, and then Ebony, you're close behind, and then we got Casey and my buddy Byron Jones. They're going to be on the show later on this season. So this is going to be a regular occurrence, y'all. You're going to get more content. I got to get my sponsor out the way too, because she's going to. She's going to yell at me if I don't. This podcast episode was brought to you by Shell Purcell's Pop Your Ish Comedy Special. Gulfport, Mississippi, August 8th. I want to say that is a Thursday. Hopefully I didn't get that wrong. Shell Purcell's Comedy Special, Pop Your Ish. You guys know her. You've seen her on Dynasty. You've seen her on NCIS. You've seen her in the episode Atlanta. She played the librarian in Atlanta. That was a good episode. She's played in Woman in Movement. The Emmett Till series that she was in. She's been in so much. And you guys can see her currently on the newest movie, The Underdog, starring Snoop Dogg and Mike Epps on Prime Video. But comedy special, Pop Your Ish by Shell Purcell. We're going on tour with that. Mississippi, Gulfport Coast. Gulf Coast, Mississippi. Get your tickets now at shellpurcell.com. It's going to be full of laughters. It's the first screening look of the series on screen at Cinemark's Gulfport. You guys don't want to miss out on that. So shout out to Shell, shout out to DP Entertainment. And of course, K.L.P Entertainment had a little work to do with that one as well. So yeah, we got it going on. So shout out to them. Yeah. All right. 3 generations, y'all. So this is the thing that we're going to do, and I'm going to ask every host that's come on the show and every guest host or guest that come on the show later into the series, we're going to ask this question, and it's called old school or new school. So about 5 questions I'm going to ask openly, and then we're both going to answer it. So we talked about music just now. We're going to talk more about music as one of the topics, but just real quick. Old school or new school in music? Which one would you pick?
Well, I'm an old school person. Like I love old school music. I collect vinyl records. I got a record player. Like I have to go with old school music because for me that's the foundation. Like old school music to me is timeless. Like it's very rare that I hear like a new school music. Yeah. And I consider a record, that's timeless. I could play that 10 years from now, and it's still going to go crazy.
Yeah. So who's your favorite artist from old school?
Ooh, that's a tough one. I will say my favorite group is Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Earth, Wind, and Fire. Do you remember back in September?
Yeah, I love Earth, Wind, and Fire. I don't know, like it's a slew of artists, old school artists from back in the day. Aretha Franklin. I love when Queen Latifah was an artist. Like that was really an eye opener for me because it was like, whoa, she being herself and people like gravitating towards it. Like that was cool for me because it was like just being me. Like at an early age, I've always known like who I am and my identity and things like that. And so seeing her like. I saw a music video and it was like, who you calling and so that video was just so, the energy was high, she was doing her thing, like I was just like, yo, okay, like
you guys
that was dope. So yeah, it was fire.
Yeah, for me, it's so Aaliyah, God rest her soul. I know she's been gone for years now, but we've still got to say God rest her soul to Aaliyah. She would have been still popping if she was alive. Okay, we're talking about Aaliyah, and I just saw on the way here to the studio, I saw a poster. Missy Elliott's coming to State Farm with Timbaland and Busta and Sierra. They're on tour. Shout out to them. Missy Elliott.
Yeah,
shout out to my mom because she. If it weren't getting she's driving us to school, she's jamming out. So it's Missy Elliott for me.
Yeah, I love Missy.
I missed him because he was here too. Tank. Tank.
Okay.
Oh my
nice.
God. Tank is something else.
Okay.
Like, he can still make a couple albums or two. He said, "Oh, I'm done." No, you're not done. Jodeci.
Okay.
I like Jodeci.
Yeah.
Maya. Maya.
She classic. I like her.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like Maya.
If we're going old school, and I know that this generation, 3 generations, and I wasn't born in this era. Marvin Gaye.
Yeah, definitely. I think in a way that's a no-brainer.
Yeah. I was boxing at the gym the other day, and I heard it through the great. It was playing in my head, and I was like, so yeah, Luther Vandross,
Definitely.
Barry White, because I just yeah. So those are my top. I want to say old school. Now, there's nothing against the new school because they got some stuff. I heard Normani's new album.
Okay.
So dope.
Okay.
But old school is a classic. I still rock with the classic for sure. Let's see. Old school or new school? You like Chinese food?
Yeah, I love Chinese food. I just haven't found a nice spot yet.
Yeah, okay.
I love Chinese food.
So I guess I could ask this. I don't know if there's an appropriate old school or new school when it comes to Chinese food. And I guess what I mean by that is you can kind of relate to like a mom and pop old school to new school like Panda Express.
Okay. So what I'll say in regards to that is I don't know if it's considered, I'm going to just speak on where I'm from. So where I'm from, back at Memphis, there used to be this spot called Yums. And Yums used to have the best like Chinese food. Like, and my grandfather used to take us and he'll be like, "Oh, y'all want some of that cat dog today?" Like that's what my granddad used to say. And so he'll be like, "Y'all eating that cat dog?" And it was just like, "Yeah, granddad, I love it." And it's like he would take us, and shout out to my grandfather, he's passed away, but that was probably one of my favorite memories, like speaking on Chinese food. Like man, we used to go to that place, and it is, I guess, kind of like a mom and pop spot. But yeah, like it's like, yeah, if you from the city, you know Yums. It was another spot called New Hong Kong that was really good. I mean, just some Memphis classics for sure. Absolutely.
Old school for me, and I hope they don't sponsor us one day. I can't stand Panda Express.
I don't like it either, so that's okay.
We used to go to a spot. It was called the Great Wall or Great Wall. And so where I'm from, guys, I always say I'm from Atlanta because I love Atlanta, but truthfully, I was born in Macon. So there was a Chinese spot actually in Milledgeville that we lived, because it was like Milledgeville and then Jones County and then Macon was here. We live in all 3 of these places. So Milledgeville, we went to the Great Wall, and it was amazing Chinese. You're waiting a while for them to prepare your food because it has to be a minute.
Yeah.
But when it comes down to it, Great Wall, authentic Chinese, mom and pop. And people sleep on mom and pop Chinese spots because they don't look like Panda Express. They don't look modern. They don't look. They look clean. They clean now, but they look a little,
Yeah.
But then you get there, their health inspection is 100, and then you order the food and it's
good.
Amazing.
I feel that.
It's amazing. You don't have a stomach ache. When I have and I haven't had Panda Express in a while, but Panda Express one time made my stomach hurt. I was sick. I had to call off to work the next day because my stomach was in knots because I ate some off Chinese food, Panda Express. So old school. Now here's the next one, and I try not to talk so much about relationships and advice on the shows, but I can't help it. Old school or new school when you're trying to talk to somebody, text or talking in person?
This is good because I enjoy talking about relationships.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely going to say old school. Like, I would much rather talk to you in person because I feel like in person, you can get more of a vibe versus like, it's so easy to, when you're texting, it's so easy to like, in a way like misconstrued or, I don't know, like in a way misunderstand somebody's energy or maybe what they said or how they said it or whatever. So yeah, I'm a very much in-person type person. But what I will say with the new school generation, and this is what I saw even like as an educator, right? you know how in college, public speaking, that's a class, that's a thing. The whole purpose of public speaking is to help you obviously speak in public. There are so many people that are afraid to have conversations with people in public. Like, I'm talking about you could been and saw somebody that you know, and it's like, oh my God, please don't say anything to me, please don't say anything to me. And it's just like, why you just can't say, hey, like, it's okay, like, what's up? So yeah, like, it's this communication thing of people, they fear rejection. They fear rejection. So it's like in person, you know, you experience that rejection right then and there. At least with a text, you can kind of play it off. Or I ain't really get it, or I read it, but I can dismiss it and walk away from it.
Right.
When you in person, it's like, oh, I got to deal with this right now.
Yeah.
Like, so yeah, for me, I'm a in-person type person, like, for sure.
Thank God. Because what you just mentioned, when you said, it's okay to come up and say, so I work out. There's no secret that everybody knows I work out. And every time I'm lifting weights, like I'm working out, doing my thing, and then there's a girl over there, and she does this thing where she peeps over, like, she looks at me, and I'm like, hey, like, I just, you know.
Yeah.
And then one time, one girl, she peeped, she saw me, and then she bit her lip. So I was like, oh.
Okay.
But then in front of her was a big jack dude, like big guy, her boyfriend. So I was like, you can come over. You like yeah. I was like, I did this number here, like, what's up, you know? And she was feeling it, boy. And then what was funny is, like, in my mind, it's like, you can come over and say, hey, but at the time I didn't know that was her boyfriend that was in front of her. So the boyfriend turns around, and I could hear, like, I can read lips really good. He goes, hey, it's your turn. And I quickly turned away, because I didn't want him to be like, hey, what you looking at?
Right.
Big dude. But to answer that question, the question is, I prefer old school too, because there's nothing wrong with going up to somebody and really saying, hey, talk to me, and hey, what's your name? I think it's a different thing now in this generation, because again, people are afraid to be rejected. I'm sort of guilty of that myself a little, but I've gotten more confident over the years. But to see people don't have the confidence to go up because they're afraid of that rejection, it is crazy. So we hide behind our devices.
1000%.
You know, DMs and dating apps. We hide behind the screen, so that way it doesn't feel as bad.
Yeah.
I do wish that, you know, we can kind of go back to the old generation of putting down the phones, talking to each other in person. When I went on a date one time, you know, she flipping on her phone, I got so mad. Yeah. And I didn't know why. I knew why I got mad. Is because I matured a lot. So it's like, when I'm on a date, my phone is on Do Not Disturb in my pocket. Like, I'm not seeing what's on Twitter or X. I'm talking to you. I want to get to know that person, right? So it's very, very interesting. Generation curse, y'all. I believe in that. It's different. It's different around this world. Now, that was the flash, old school, new school. Now, the next topic I wanted to talk about, as I fumble with my cord here, I want to talk a little bit more in music for our topic. Now, we have the topic there, and then I have another topic that's a little political, but we'll get to that later. Music, because this first episode, there's no secret that you're an artist. I'm an artist too. I gotta plug this up now because my DJ going. DJ Lupizzi and we're working on a new album. It's called Dreams. Check for it on all your DSPs. Coming soon, by the way. When I was in the studio with DJ Lupizzi, we were working on music pieces, and we talked about this, actually, about how music has evolved throughout the generations, right?
Yeah.
You had your, I want to say your, shout out to Timbaland, but your Timbaland era, right? It's beatboxing. The beat's a little different.
1000%.
And so now in this generation, I find it to myself, because when me and DJ Lupizzi were going through our beats and like, what do you think about this? What do you think about this hook? And I'm like, it sounds like every other song, right?
Yep.
So I wanted to get your scope. Why do you think that is?
I feel like when it comes to, like how you just mentioned, Timberland, right? So yeah, back in the day, you had Timberland, Swiss Beats, like
Swiss Beats.
it was the way the beat, it still makes the music even today, but it was something about those drum patterns and the different things that they were adding to their beats that made just about every record stand out. Like, I feel like today there are so many people that's like recycling beats, especially like there's more and more samples. Like every generation, it's like it's more sampling. Whereas I feel like back then they were sampling, but they were still very much heavily in the creative space where I'm like, yo, I'm every drum, every snare, don't put this there, put that there. Like really constructing the beat versus like today, I feel like it's more of a template base. You know what I'm saying? Like it's more of a, as long as you got the 808s knocking, you straight. Like anything else is, you can just kind of plug and play. But I feel like back in the day, they was really like construct. And no disrespect to the producers out here, that nobody that's doing their thing. Like I'm not putting everybody in a category, but I'm just saying most beats today, like one of the producers that I like today is Hitmaker. Like he, oh my goodness. I feel like when I hear his beats, I feel like they're never the same. Like, I feel like, I mean, and you could just tell, like, every record is like, okay, this is for that person, or, you know what I'm saying? This is for that song, whatever. It's so dope. So, like, I don't know. I just think back in the day, and again, there's no disrespect to any other producers today. I just feel like passion-wise, it was much more passion when it came to like what you was doing. You know what I'm saying? I feel like a lot of producers today, it's a financial thing, right? And I feel like back in the day, like the bread that people are making today, as far as producers, I don't feel like they was making the same back in the day. I feel like, but back in the day, there was more love and, you know, just different elements that they were really putting into it that made it much better. I think about it like Sunday dinner. Like when I'm with my fiance, I really enjoy her cooking because she cooks with love. I'm talking about, it don't matter what we're eating. Everything is well seasoned, and let me take my time. Let me make it. Oh, it's not right. Okay, let me redo. Like, just very much dedicated to the process. Everybody is not dedicated to the process
because everybody can't cook. You got to watch some of the people that don't season their chicken. Y'all know who y'all are.
So that's what I'm saying, man. It's just, it goes back to the dedication. A lot of people aren't dedicated to the process. They just see like the financial gain or the, you know what I'm saying, just the different benefits that come with, you know, having that title of, I produced the record. You're
and I agree, because I feel like back in the day they cooked it with more love. They put, and it's to me it's like a weird taboo, because when you put so much hard work into something and it's dope and it's in history, but then you're not getting paid as much, right? And in this generation now, like you say, no disrespect to producers out there, but I've listened to some music and I'm like, this ain't really that great. But then you get paid millions and millions and millions of dollars to put this kind of amateurish, and I'm saying this from the back burner, guys, because I'm now dabbling into this music thing, but you have it to be where people put like amateur type work, but they get paid millions and millions and millions and millions. Do you think that it had something to do with, okay, we just need to pump something out because our numbers need to be at a certain level? We need streaming numbers. We need number 2 or number 1 on billboards. Do you think that artistry that today, they're just relying on streaming? They're just relying on the numbers instead of the actual craft? Yeah,
1,000%. Because at the end of the day, a lot of people will tell you they're doing music not because necessarily they love it, not necessarily because they love the process. Some people love it because of the money that's associated with it. But what I will say, depending on where you are in this industry, you'll learn very quickly, regardless of big artists, or little, or I don't want to say little artists, but like not, you know, major artists versus indie artists. When it comes to streams, it can be pennies. You know what I'm saying? Like you have to have so many streams to even see dollars, hundreds of dollars, thousands of dollars. Like, yes, you have to have damn near 1 million streams just to even make $1,000. Or, you know what I'm saying? Just kind of whatever that outcome is. But it's just like, they'll tell you, the money is in merchandise, touring, stuff like that, collaborations, doing other things. Like, you see a lot of music artists that dab in more than music. You know what I'm saying? Like, because it is, and I mean, literally, if you look at it today, like from your Sexy Reds, your NLL Chopper, all of that, like, they're making music, but it's just for right now. Right. Like,
you a fan of Sexy Red?
I mean, I can't say nothing bad about her because it's like my fiance loves Sexy Red. But what I will say though, and this is 3 Generations podcast. Yeah. Sexy Red is not the first of her kind.
Finally something.
Come on, I'm gonna just speak.
Sexy Red's making the money, right? And I'm
not
just not
only,
a fan.
yeah, and
I'm sorry.
But see, it goes back to her knowing her audience. Yeah, you are not a part of her audience. So for me, that's why it's like it's hard to be like whether I like somebody or not. I'm not in everybody's audience. Right. You know what I'm saying? But what I will say is, I was out in Miami last week. They dropped the Sexy Red song. You got white women dancing. You got teenage girls moving. You got older women moving. So it's just Sexy Red. So it's just like I'm literally just watching the room, and it's just like she helping people, like, in a way she's encouraging them. Now it depends on how you look at it, but it's like I ain't even gonna repeat some of the lyrics, but it's just like, it's almost helping people confidence level go up.
To me, that's good. I think, because I see it on TikTok and media too. I think music like Ice Spice and Sexy Red, they're good for us because we're adults. But like, I see little girls dancing to it. Little girls, give it sex. And it's just like, I don't know if a 6-year-old should be dancing to this and twerking to this, because that's kind of, I don't know how I feel about that. But I don't think that, do you think that with that, is there like a parent barrier, I guess, with
that's what I was just getting ready to lead into. We have to remember that we can't put all of the responsibility on the artist. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, when I'm making music, for example, I got a record called Bust It. It's a song. Yeah. It's a record. Yeah. And so, but when I was in the studio, I'm not thinking of young kids dancing to it or whatever.
Adults in our generation.
It's a good time. Like, that's what I'm thinking about. So it's like, at some point, man, and I really want to say this, and this is just how I feel about it, but like, at some points, the parents got to be responsible for their seeds. You feel what I'm saying? Especially if they're still like kids. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's your responsibility. Like, this is your seed. You're basically helping grow and sow into this seed. So it's like, you need a village. We're the village, but at the same time, what you allow your kids to listen to, like,
that's on you.
Yeah.
Or what the kids are playing video games wise,
1000%,
what kids are watching, because they reflect what they watch.
1000%.
In public, I see kids running around, screaming, cussing their parents out. Back in my generation, all you hear is sit down, and I'm on the ground,
play that.
back in my day.
So. Or it'll be like, whatever I say, go. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There is no, don't ask me why, what. If I said do XYZ, go do XYZ.
We go to the store, you ain't getting ish.
Don't touch
ask
nothing.
for ish. You ain't getting ish,
You hear me? Yeah, for sure.
Shout out to my parents, man. Shout out to the parents, man.
You know what? Real quick, I just want to speak on this since we're speaking on parents. Yeah. So one of the things that I had to really learn and accept is that my parents did the best that they could with what they had.
I agree.
And it's like, especially like when it comes to my mom, like, I used to be so mad at my mom because I just feel like she wasn't there like I would have liked her to be. You know what I'm saying? And so it was like, I think sometimes we forget that before they were a parent, they was just a regular human being, regular person. Right. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, when you start taking those titles off of them and just start seeing them just as a regular person, it's like, dang, okay.
Yeah.
I get it now. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a different understanding where it's like, when you became like my mom or my dad, you wasn't in the best. You probably wasn't in the best space mentally, emotionally. You probably was still dealing with your childhood, whatever.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's just like now to add on a whole new title where like you're a parent. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like for me, and I think some of us we look at our parents like they supposed to be perfect and they supposed to know everything and have the answers and do everything. And it's just like, to be honest, shoot, they learning just like we learning. You know what I'm saying? They still growing just like we growing. Because I'm like, even at our age, we don't have all the answers. But some people, they was parents before they even got, you know what I'm saying, to our age.
No, that makes
so
sense.
it's like, if you can think about where you are mentally at your age, think about it from another perspective. Like, oh, I'm 18, I'm 19.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just.
Yeah, my parents had 5 of us. I don't know how they did it, but they made it work.
I feel that.
I think as we get older now, while we're here on parents, we learn to, now with my parents, obviously, you know, we didn't always get along with the 5 kids and the 2 parents. There was always, you know, family drama, but we ain't gonna get so far into that. But I think now we're learning as we get older, we're seeing a lot because we're adulting, and like you say, we still don't have all the answers. And then I'm still, you know, figuring some things out at age 28. Right.
Yeah.
So, and then I look back to my parents, and, you know, I thank God each and every day that they're still here. You know, a lot of folks don't have their parents.
Right.
And I can come to them with some sort of advice. And then, like, my siblings are together. We're like best friends. On the way here to studio, they're texting, hey, we're going to go see Dad, because he's retired in Tampa. So, like, hey, we're going to go see Dad in Tampa next week and whatever. And to see that we got that close-knit relationship to where we can text each other, call each other.
Yeah.
And I saw my dad the other day, and he was like, all right, gotta go. He kissed me on the cheek. I'm like, oh, I was, you know, because back, you know, it's different now.
Yeah.
But very appreciative to my
That's
parents.
what's
They did it with 5 kids. I don't know how in the world they did that. And I think it's just for us being faithful, staying faithful. And then sort of going a little bit back into music before we hit to our next topic, before we wrap. For me, I've learned to be a little bit more faithful. You know, forgiving enemies, praying to God each and every day.
Oh, yeah.
And a big part of that praying is music. And you mentioned you're making a gospel album. I can't wait to see that in progress.
I got a gospel album. I don't know when it's coming.
Yeah, when it's coming, y'all. But I love to hear that because, you know, gospel, I've been listening to a lot of gospel, even in the gym. One guy I listen to, shout out to him, Travis Malloy. I got to bring up Travis Malloy because he is an Atlanta native. Travis, if you're watching the podcast, you want to come on the show, I would love to have you on the show. But his story was very interesting because he moved to Atlanta. I forgot where he moved from. I think it was California. He moved to Atlanta, and, you know, he didn't have a dollar to his name. He's new. He didn't want to do the regular 9 to 5. He started making music. And now he's doing the millions, billions, trillions thing. And I got to buy me a shirt or a hat. It has millions, billions, and trillions. And it's just kind of manifestation of those 3.
Absolutely.
So when I saw his brand, I follow his brand very closely, and his music. I love all his music. The manifestation of his latest album was great. Travis, I like Faith Journey. That's my favorite one that you made. I like my 90s heart too. I want to hear more of your 90s R&B type, but I think gospel is a good way to go when it comes down to music, because it's not just, you know, a lot of people doing gospel for money sales. There are artists that are like that. This is a hot topic. I think Kirk Franklin's like that. Like, he used to be dope, right? But I feel that he's making gospel and he's doing the thing with Will Smith and just, hey, it's Hollywood, so I kind of need to, and I get it. But it's like, where's your R&B, right? I saw that Marvin Sapp, was it Marvin Sapp? Yeah, Marvin Sapp. Never wanna make. I heard he's making new gospel music. Tamla Mann, Cora from the Medea movies. She's doing some dope stuff too. And I think it's very, very interesting. I think everybody should listen to gospel. I know that may not be everybody's thing, but just to kind of check it out. And there's been nights, you know, many nights when I'm stressed out, I'm listening to Travis Malloy, one of his good songs, and I'd start bawling. Yeah. And I don't know what it is. It takes over me, and I start crying. But I think gospel's the way to go. I can't wait.
I just want to speak on a few things when it comes to gospel music.
Yeah.
So, one thing, okay, so just quick story time. When I was growing up, my mom had got injured when she was working for the government and stuff like that. So she had to end up medically retiring early. And that really had crushed her because like my mom, she's a corporate woman. You know what I'm saying? Like she's a boss. She want to reach the highest and you know what I'm saying? Stuff like that. And so that kind of got pulled away from her. And so, you know, she had to kind of be at home or stuff like that. So she would play this song called I Told the Storm. She would play this song probably every single day. And I mean, she would be in full-blown praise and worship. And I'd just be sitting there looking like, dang, like this song, like speaking to her. So fast forward, like this past year, like I just got out of this season where like my faith was like just it had been tested. Ooh, come on, it had been tested. And so that song had came on and I started listening to it because I'm good for just breaking out in concerts. Yeah. But it was like I had to just sit and listen to the words. And so when I pulled up the lyrics and I just started reading it, I was figuring out that like most gospel music, a lot of people say they don't know what to pray when they pray. Like, if you turn on a gospel song and you say what they're saying, you're talking to God. Like, you're speaking life to whatever it is that you're going through. And so the song, going back to I Told the Storm, basically what she's saying is, I told the storm. Like, you have to speak to your storm. You got to speak to your mountains. Like, in order for it to move or change, you have to speak to it. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of times when it comes to, like, us and our situations, we don't speak. We allow it to control us. You know what I'm saying? We speak with so much defeat. You hear me? Like, we speak with so much, like, dang, like, this is how it's happening. Like, we speak with so much discouragement versus like you gotta encourage yourself. Right. You know what I'm saying? And there's even a record called You Gotta Encourage Yourself. Like, and that just goes back to you gotta speak life to yourself. So it's like when we talk about gospel music, I started really getting into gospel music because I started listening to the lyrics. Like, when I started listening to the lyrics and really just breaking it down, I realized like, dang, I can say these words. Like, maybe I don't know what to say. Right. But if I turn on, like, I don't know, Yolanda Adams, Open Up Your Heart. You know what I'm saying? Yolanda like, Adams. Oh. Kirk Franklin back in the day. You know, just whatever. Like, Donnie McClurkin. Like, when you... so, even if you would have asked me, like, yo, old school versus new school when it come to gospel, right? I'm going to say old school. Ooh, okay, because when I tell you, these people was praying in these songs. Right. Like, these people was really, like... they were speaking, and so when you talk about like, oh, I don't know what came over me, Holy Spirit has activated. Like when you feeling them goosebumps and you in that moment, like I was in the car too. Like, oh, I'm about to cry. That's Holy Spirit moving through you, like that, because it's resonating with you, it's sitting with you, like you're speaking to your mountain, you're speaking to your storm, whatever it is. So it's like when you speak on like Travis, like, or just, I have a favorite album that he did, like, it's all good because depending on what season you was in when that joint dropped, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's depending on what season you in, that's when the music gonna speak to you the most. You know what I'm saying? So definitely, like, that's why I said I know I owe God a gospel album. Yeah. Because it's like when I tell you, like, this man done brought me out of so much. Yeah. Like, and not even just brought me out of, but just speaking in general, like, just allowing certain things not even to come to pass. You know what I'm saying? Right. Just redirecting my path and even giving me chance after chance when I didn't deserve it or this or that. Like, I was like, I could talk about God all day long. I can talk about God all day long.
Absolutely. So one hot take, and then we'll of course wrap for the podcast. And this is something that's been viral for weeks and weeks and weeks now. Since we're on the topic of music. Okay. Uh-oh. You know what I'm about to ask?
Dun-dun-dun-dun. What you about to ask?
Dun-dun-dun-dun. Dun-dun. So who won, Kendrick or Drake, in your opinion?
Come on, man. Honestly, I'm gonna say Kendrick.
Yeah.
And here's what I'll say about Kendrick. First of all, the beat crazy. Let's just start there. But it was like Kendrick was giving us history. And I love history. But it was just like I was watching someone on TikTok not too long ago, and they literally broke down, and this is right around the time the video just came out. And so they literally broke down every lyric that was in the record. And I was just like, it made me start thinking. I was like, dang, okay, is that what he meant? Like, oh, like, let me tell you about Atlanta. Like, oh, you was really like, you talking about something.
Yeah, down for the culture.
Yeah. And so I was just like, dang, like, that's dope. Like, that's fire. I don't feel like, and ain't no disrespect to Drake. Like, he do his thing. He's his own artist. Yeah. But, like, I don't feel like he be dropping history. He not giving you, like, a history lesson. It's more so just I'm talking my talk, you know, whatever. Like, yeah, but Kendrick, he ate down on that joint.
Kendrick to me. So I like To Pimple Butterfly. I like Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers. I like the Black Panther album. I think Kendrick has that sort of flow that, you know, it cannot be matched. Like, you can't match up somebody with Kendrick when it comes down to it. I gotta say, and this might be a tough one, because I know Kendrick and Snoop Dogg, the California era, I think Kendrick might be a little step higher than Snoop Dogg, in my opinion. In my harsh opinion. I know it's a hot take, because I love Snoop, right? But I think Kendrick, to me, has it to where he's really, like you say, he's spitting something, and he really had to go through, like raised in Compton, right? That's a hard place in California, right? So I think he's been through the trials and tribulations. Drake, I can say that he's been through something, but he got his stardom very young with being in Degrassi and getting some light there, playing Jimmy, and now he's coming out and becoming a rapper and becoming more into it. I think they're two artists that's coming from different pathways, in my opinion. And
1,000%.
I think you've got to experience something deep to get your best work. Especially, like we're talking about in gospel, they've been through something deep to make such a great album. Yeah. Folks over at the Joe Budden podcast, shout out to Joe Budden, they said it in their podcast, you have to go through something to give us something.
1,000%. Yeah. But see, what I want to do is, and I want to say this, I don't want to discount Drake's story. You know what I'm saying? Like, he might not have gone through the exact thing that Kendrick has gone through, but Drake has his own story. You know what I'm saying? Even with starting, like you said, he got stardom at a young age. It's stories behind those situations that we, you know, haven't even heard about, whatever the case might be. So I know everybody's journey is different. And even when you put Snoop and Kendrick in the same category, in a way it's hard because they're coming from two different eras. Snoop is coming back from, like, he started with Tupac. That Tupac era, that era of NWA, like, that's a completely different era from what Kendrick grew up on. You know what I'm saying? Even growing up, like, he probably seen some of that stuff versus they was actually living
that stuff.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so
that makes sense.
That's what I would say.
But shout out to both. Drake, you know, you're gonna have to just take some time off.
Man,
they say that Drake had something to do with there was a club in Houston that they played Not Like Us, and they got banned, and DJ was scared, and they said, oh, Drake made it known that you can't play that song. I don't think that's the case. Yeah. I think, you know, it's Houston, right? You got Houston, Atlanta, Vegas. That's the whole slogan they've been doing. So I mean, if Drake goes to the club a lot, that Houston club, maybe you may not want to play that song while he's there, right? Because he's still a big dog. He's a big player.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
You got to be careful where you at. So a lot of people were upset about that, but it's like, well, if I had a celebrity come into my club that's darn near a billionaire almost of Drake's caliber, I would say, yeah, they'll play this song. It's a marketing tactic. So, but in my opinion, Kendrick won. He smoked it. The music video looks great. I think, though, a lot of these shows are making spoofs and they're picking on it and they're just, okay, we're tired now. Like, we get it. BET, Taraji did. I think Taraji, when she did a little spoof thing, that was cute, right? SNL did something. A lot of people are making parodies about it. Like, okay, we get it. We get it.
I mean, but yeah, like you said, marketing.
And it is marketing, but after a while, it's like you're beating a dead horse, in my opinion.
Yeah.
My opinion.
Yeah.
But Kendrick, you the man. Drake, you also the man, but Kendrick kind of smoked you on that one. So that's going to wrap it up here, the 3 Generations podcast, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully you enjoyed this episode. Yes, there are more is coming. We promise you, more is coming. The set might be a little different next time, but more is coming for the 3 Generations podcast. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe to the YouTube channel that we're going to have for this podcast. And if you're listening to all of the other audio platforms, wherever you get your podcast from, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, like us there. And we'll see you guys in the next episode of the 3 Generations podcast. See y'all later. Peace.
Live from Atlanta. Welcome to the 3 Generations podcast. Bringing you a show where wisdom, experience, and fresh perspectives collide with K.L.P, Kennedy Lucas, Nay Liggins, Byron Jones, and KC.
You know what it is? Put your hands up.
Tune in now on any audio platform.
Go.